In a certain and unpredictable business world, marketing has remained quite instrumental in helping organizations to stay afloat. Apparently, Peter Drucker's famous adage, marketing is too important to be left to the marketing department, will become a reality and more important, especially as marketing moves from the periphery of the core of the extended enterprise. The objective of this session is to try and set the stage for marketing and marketing planning, especially within the context of the current digital age. To help us in trying to understand marketing, especially in the form of its importance within the business setup, we look at the story of Emirates. Founded in about 1985, the Emirates Group operates across 6 continents and 144 cities. It is the largest international airline in the world, at least as of now. Not so sure what will happen post the COVID-19 situation. Emirates has actually set itself out to be an innovative, modern, and customer-oriented provider of high-quality air travel services. Over the years, it has successfully and continuously created a customer-focused value proposition by offering a combination of products, services, information, experiences, as well as basically services that are customized for its market demographics for each of the destinations that it serves. For instance, for those who have flown Emirates, they will agree with me how the airline has successfully managed the Skywards program, which has actually allowed Emirates to deliver its value proposition to its customers, frequent flyers, and support its mission statement of committing to high standards. As competitors within the airline industry have continued to discount airfares over the years, at times to some loss-making levels, Emirates has managed to maintain its fares while managing some healthy yields supported by excellent load factors, both in terms of cargo as well as passenger air transportation. The company was actually able to do this because of its customer value-driven marketing approach and its service proposition, for which customers continue to be willing to pay a premium. Beyond the functional benefit of air travel, Emirates has managed to market its services as the Emirates experience, a genuine passion for comfort and attention to detail. Customers didn't just fly Emirates, they experienced it. That's what marketing is all about. In these digital times, Emirates has managed to forge a new kind of customer relationship, a deeper, more personal, more engaging relationship with its clients. Emirates has managed to use online, mobile, and social media to connect with its customers and create, a brand, create itself a name within the airline industry. And this has been enhanced with the use of social media platforms such as Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, and Pinterest. The company's Hello Tomorrow campaign, which actually was launched in 2012 in over 80 markets, presented Emirates' new mindset, which celebrates global travel, conveying its commitment to connect with people and help them realize their potential through travel. So this is basically, in short, the story of Emirates and how it has managed to, to grow despite all the odds. In trying to confirm the efforts that Emirates has made over the years, Peter Drucker, who is actually considered the father of management thinking, states, because the purpose of business is to create a customer, the business enterprise has two and only two basic functions. That's marketing and innovation. Marketing and innovation produce results. All the rest are costs. The question is, do you agree with this? I do agree. Because if I'm to link this back to the story of Emirates that I was just narrating, you realize that the company has actually managed to, to cut across, to grow, to conquer competition, increase in competition, simply because of its innovativeness, simply because of its ability to to sail through and fight through the odds. So at the end of the day, marketing and innovation are indeed, like very important functions within the enterprise. However, there is a danger that we must actually watch against, what Levitt called the marketing myopia. The marketing myopia is actually a situation whereby the organization will view marketing strictly from the standpoint of product selling rather than customer needs fulfillment. So, and I would like to believe that this has not really been the case with Emirates, because at the end of the day, it's all about customer needs fulfillment. At the end of the day, it's all about making sure that our customer needs and wants are satisfied, and not just taking it from the viewpoint of simply selling or pushing through the product. So as we focus on marketing and innovation, we should really try and avoid, we should actually guard against falling into the trap of marketing myopia. Now, we look at some of the new marketing realities that we are actually faced with in this era. The marketplace has actually dramatically changed over the years, and what it has been over the, like 10 years ago, not even 10 years ago, what it has been some months ago, talking of COVID-19 now, it's different with what it is right now. Some new marketing behaviors have actually come, and these have come with some opportunities and challenges that we have to tap into or try and overcome if there are challenges. And some of the top forces that have actually transformed the marketplace include technology. Talking of 4IR, we'll talk about it a bit in detail. Then talk about globalization, a situation whereby the whole world has just become but just one small village. Talk about corporate social responsibility and how it has actually increased over the years. And now we now have a fourth factor, a fourth force, the invisible enemy in form of COVID-19. You see, within months, just within, weeks, the world has actually changed. The world has been transformed, and marketing has not been spared, with such a reality that we are actually facing. So talking of these four forces, you realize that these have actually pushed us, or these are pushing organizations to operate within what is now being referred to as the new normal. So the question is, what is this new normal in the context of marketing? What is it that we need to do if we are to keep abreast with the changes in technology? What is it that we have to do if we are to still operate in the face of COVID-19? So talking of 4IR, the challenge of big data, we cannot really afford not to talk about it. And the fact that we are having a lot of ever increasing volumes in terms of data, ever increased velocity, the variety, the variability, the complexity of information that we now have around us. And the same type of voluminous data is also what the customers out there are being faced with. So, and this has been made possible due to advances in the digital world. So now the issue is, faced with such big data, what is it that we can do as marketers to try and to try and capture some value out of that big data? And what is it that we can do in order to make sure that this becomes an opportunity rather than a challenge? So you'll find that, like, with this, marketing analytics have actually become quite handy, and because they are actually allowing us as marketers to gain some deeper insights into achieving aspects such as customer engagement. Because you see, it's now different. 10 years ago, it was quite different to really, get a customer and try to engage them one-on-one. It was quite difficult, to even in terms of customer retention. But now, because of just one transaction done by a customer, we are able to capture their information. We're able to capture, some personalized, personal information to which we can actually use in terms of our future engagements, so forth. And most importantly, it has actually also become quite easy to optimize our marketing efforts, because all the information that we require, which was quite difficult to obtain in the past, has now been made possible due to the advances that we actually see within the business environment. Then we also have the Internet of Things. I can't really emphasize much on that, because it's a well-known fact that a wireless network between objects, almost anything can now be connected. And almost anything can now be connected and configured. And we see this on the rise. And by actually connecting and by configuring objects around us, we now see customers now being, customers now being at the center, or now able to centralize the control of objects or anything that actually that comes that actually comes within around them. So we now see things having identities and visual personalities operating in smart spaces, using intelligent interfaces to connect and communicate with social, environmental, and user context. Something that we also as marketers should actually also take into account. And when I look at this slide, it's no longer even just about a glimpse into the future, because the future, we cannot look at the future as if it's something that is still to come, but the future is actually now. Even if you look at these figures, they are talking of the estimation in 2020 estimations in terms of connected devices, which was meant to be 50 billion, and we are in 2020 right now. And I would like to believe that even this forecast back then probably has been surpassed, because a lot has actually taken place. And because of that, it's no longer the future that we can look at a distance, but we rather look at it as the future that is just now, right? So as a result, what are we saying? We are saying here the future of marketing lies in creating products, in creating services, and in creating company cultures that embrace and reflect human values of social connectedness. Earlier on, I was talking, let me just go back a bit. I was talking about the Internet of the Internet of Things and how objects are being linked up, not just linked up to each other, but also linked up to the, being linked up to the human, and not just object, but now we see also the aspect of social connectedness becoming one of the, one of the areas of focus. So at the end of the day, what we are simply saying is that in order to capture that social connectedness, in order to capture the aspects of the Internet of Things, as marketers, we actually need to create products and services, and to create a culture within our organizations that will actually embrace and reflect those values of social interconnectedness. So at the end of the day, what we are simply saying is that, even talk of AI, that's artificial intelligence, and marketing, is something that we cannot afford not to talk about, because this is where we are right now. This is, the future is not to come, but the future is just now. So as a result, we are saying the question is, how can we leverage the artificial intelligence concept? How can we leverage the Internet of Things concept? How can we leverage the social connectedness, which has become one of the most valued, aspects, or most valued concepts with amongst the humankind? So it is quite important that we really try and capture each of these aspects as they are actually part of the future, which is now. Now, we have been talking about marketing, capturing the 4IR technology, marketing, and trying to create value for social connectedness. But now the issue is, what is it that we call marketing? The AMA, which is the American Marketing Association, is actually defined marketing as the activity, the set of institutions and processes for creating, communicating, delivering, and exchanging offerings that have value for customers, clients, partners, society at large. And that's according to Kotler and Keller in 2016, page 27. Then marketing has also been defined as a process by which firms create value for customers and build strong customer relationships in order to capture value from customers in return. The simplest definition can be marketing being defined as the meeting of customer needs profitably. So what I want you to take note is that the key word that is coming is actually value. We have already talked about this. I really don't need to overemphasize on this aspect, because at the end of the day, marketing is all about creating value. You see, as we conclude this session, we will actually look at what we call the marketing process, which is all about determining what is it the customer that value the most, and try to fulfill that and try to create value for the customers. And because our simplest definition here is talking about meeting customer needs and wants profitably, we cannot run away from the fact that as marketers, we really need to understand the needs and wants and demands of our customers, because it is the same aspects that we actually need to fulfill. It is the same aspects, it is the very same needs and wants and demands that we need to fulfill. And in order to understand the concept of needs and wants, Maslow's hierarchy of needs is actually helped us to, to try and unpack what needs, what human needs and wants are, starting from the basic or psychological, moving up to safety, belongingness, esteem, self-actualization. So, and at the end of the day, it is those needs, it is those wants, it is those demands that we actually, that we are trying to satisfy. And once we are able to do that in a profitable manner, because remember, at the end of the day, it's not all about, it's not, marketing is not just a one-way aspect. we also need to fulfill our profit-making objectives. We are in business, remember, at the end of the day. So if once we are able to fulfill this, but in a profitable manner, then we can say we have actually achieved marketing. So now the question is, how do we ensure profits? How is it how are we going to make sure that we fulfill these needs and wants in a profitable manner? The main approach is one of those approaches that we actually use to achieve what we call effective markets. By men, aim for aim for money, A for authority, and N for needs. What we are simply saying is that at the end of the day, before we can really say this is an effective market, we should consider questions such as, are the buyers in that market, do they have the money to buy? Do they have the authority? Do they have the need for that particular product or service? Without any of these, we can't really say it's an effective market. So someone might have the money, but not necessarily the authority to buy. Talk of an under 18-year-old boy or under 18-year-old girl who has the money and the need maybe to buy alcohol or cigarettes, but maybe the law within the land does not allow for sale of alcohol or cigarettes to under 18. So the authority, the A aspect in that particular example will be missing. So we can't really say, like this is an effective market. So at the end of the day, the main approach, you'll remember that men aim for money, A for authority, and N for need. So, and like I said earlier on, it's all about trying to create value. Once we've established those needs and wants, we're trying to make sure that at the end of the day, we create the value through the satisfaction of the needs and wants of our customers. So at the end of the at the end of the day, we are trying also to provide a marketing offering that is in form of a product or service that will fulfill the needs, the identified needs and wants. And how do I identify these needs and wants? We identify this by carrying out a marketing research. So at the end of the day, when we research our market and we establish what is it that our customer needs, what is it that our customer wants, what is it that our customers are demanding, then we go back to the company and we produce according to these needs, wants, and demands. And the whole idea is to ensure that we provide value, we create value, and we provide satisfaction to our customers. And at the end of the day, if our product performs to an extent that is anticipated by the customers, we call that satisfaction. But if the performance of our product or service is much higher or is greater than the expectations of the customers, then the customer is delighted. If the performance, however, is less than what the customer had anticipated, then the customer will be dissatisfied. So you remember that when performance is equal to the expectations, then that is called satisfaction. The customer is satisfied. But if performance is greater than expectations, the customer is delighted. If performance is less than the expectation, the customer is dissatisfied. Talking of value, there are different forms or different types of values that that customers are usually looking for from our offerings. There's the functional value, which is basically obtained when a product performs according to what it was initially intended to perform. That's in terms of quality. Then the functional value, the customer is looking at the functional value can also come in form of a whereby the customer asks himself to say, have I obtained the value for the money, the value for my money, the value for the price that I paid for this? So for instance, if we talk of the Huawei P40 and how it has been advertised to be the perfect, to be possessing the perfect, maybe features in terms of maybe its camera or voice clarity or whatever features. So at the end of the day, the customer is looking at functional value in terms of, am I paying the value? Am I obtaining the value for the money that I have actually, paid for this product? Is it performing according to what is being advertised or what has been said of this product? Then we also have what we call emotional value. By emotional value, this is where customers actually attaching some feelings, to the product, feelings to the service. Talk of the 4DX experience, maybe within the movie, the movie house, whereby, like, if, for instance, if it's an aqua related movie, or maybe it's a movie which is involving a part whereby the players are actually maybe within a water body, then you find that with the 4DX experience, you will be able to feel as if you are actually also, if it's in the ocean, you'll be able to feel, to attach that feeling, to say you feel as if you are also right in the ocean or within the water body that these actors are actually acting from. Then we have the social value, which is basically the social self-concept or status. Talking of that, you realize that the Capitec Bank has managed to, within South Africa, has managed to position itself in terms of not just offering some a premium value, but also some social value by trying to bank what was previously known as the unbanked society. Now, why do we start marketing? I've already hinted on some of the aspects. We remember the Peter Drucker famous saying, to say marketing and innovation are the two most important functions. So we are also saying, over and above that, the survival and profitability of firms is actually dependent upon marketing. Without marketing, we cannot talk of any revenues. We cannot, that comes through sales. So we can still make our products. We can still have the perfect HR department within the organization. We can have perfect IT and so forth. But without marketing, which we are actually saying also, we will not be able to do without any of those other supporting departments, because we need to work together with the various departments. So, but otherwise, the survival and the profitability of the firms actually depends upon marketing, because we still need the revenue. Then it also marketing also affects our daily lives by affording us various product innovations. What we are simply saying is that we live marketing, we eat marketing, we sleep on marketing. So at the end of the day, this is something that we can actually not do without. And besides, it also provides employment opportunities. Now, we want to address the question of how marketing has actually come about over the years in form of what we call the marketing philosophies. There are some various philosophies that have been through which marketing has actually evolved over the years. And these include the production orientation or the production concept, the product concept, the selling concept, the marketing concept. And we also have what we call the societal marketing concept. You'll find that the first five are actually quite common, and they are talked about in a lot of marketing textbooks or publications out there. And however, it is important to note that the orientations or the marketing has actually evolved to such an extent that we now also talk about what we call the relationship marketing concept, as well as the values-based marketing concept. And these three, the societal marketing concept, relationship marketing concept, and values-based marketing concept, they all fall under what we refer to as the holistic marketing. Now, moving on, I just want us to take note that marketing management can adopt one of any of the different competing marketing orientations that I've stated above, but also to understand that this refers to how marketing has actually evolved over time. For instance, you'll see here that the production focus, which started in the early 19th century, it has actually been, it appears as if like it has been fading along the way, but it doesn't necessarily mean that it's no longer in existence. But we are simply saying here, during this era, the focus was on production. Then there was an era where the focus moved to selling. There was an era whereby the focus moved to marketing. Then there's an era in which the focus moved to relationships. But doesn't mean that we no longer have selling focus. It's still there. But as an organization, you choose, you adopt any of these orientations, and you try and this becomes your orientation, you know, from production to relationships to now, like I said, we now have also the holistic marketing concept, under which we have some various options as well. With the production concept, the production concept holds that management's task is to improve production efficiency and bring down prices. So with this, the focus is just on mass production. So the assumption is that consumers are going to gladly accept and buy anything that has been produced and availed on the market. So at the end of the day, it's all about just producing, making available on the market, making the product available on the market, and just assume that the customer will buy as long as the product has been made available. And we do have some Chinese manufacturers that actually pursue this kind of orientation, even up to now. Then with the product concept, it holds that consumers will favor products that offer the most in terms of quality, in terms of performance, in terms of innovative features. Hence, there is no need, or there's just need for some just little promotional effort. So at the end of the day, this is all about the product. The shift has moved. The difference between the production and product concept is that with the production concept, we're focusing on mass production. But with the product concept, we are now moving to shift onto the product itself. So at the end of the day, this concept has got its own weaknesses, because we cannot just assume that the product will just sell on its own without making some efforts to distribute it, to price it reasonably, to advertise it, and also selling it. Which brings us to the selling concept, which actually holds the assumption that consumers will not buy enough of any product unless it undertakes a large-scale selling and promotional effort. So with this selling concept, this is what the sales reps would normally use, because at the end of the day, they believe that if I have the product, I have to sell it. If I'm selling a service, I have to sell it. It's either I sell it or I sell it. That's it. So what it means is that there is no option. It's more like, you know, the companies that use or that adopt this orientation, they believe in some aggressive efforts to try and push a product or service that is otherwise unsought. You know, think of insurance policies, you know, think of funeral covers. People would naturally not go for them without being coaxed or without being aggressively, you know, pushed to buy these products. So that is the selling concept. Whereas the marketing concept holds that the key to achieving organizational goals depends on the determination of needs and wants of the target markets and delivering the desired satisfaction more effectively and efficiently than our competitors. You remember earlier on when I was defining marketing, when you said it's all about fulfilling customer needs and wants profitably. So when you think of the definition of marketing, just think the marketing concept, because that's what it is. The marketing concept actually defines what marketing is all about. So in other words, there are number one, you really need to identify your needs and wants of the market first. You know, unlike the previous concept, if you remember, just a rundown, the production concept, the focus is on just mass production. You just produce and make available. The product concept, the focus is on the product. As long as the product is available, is of high quality, at least within our, from our own perspective. The selling concept, make the product available, push it aggressively. But the marketing concept, you don't avail the product, you don't mass produce first, you don't have to really push the product that has been availed. You identify the needs and wants first of the market. Then when you've obtained the needs and wants of the market, you use that information to segment the market into some homogeneous groups. We'll talk about segmentation, targeting, and position at some point in another session. Then when you've segmented the market, or when you've identified these needs and wants, then it's only then you go back to the production. Then you advise the production team to develop offerings that are going to satisfy the needs and wants and the demands of the different customer groups. So at the end of the day, there is some efficient allocation of the necessary, the adequate, the relevant resources to support the business to deliver the promised value proposition. So first things first, identify the needs and wants first, then you produce products that are in line or that will actually fulfill the needs and wants of those of the customers. Then we have the holistic marketing approach, which we said we do have some sub aspects that I'll talk about shortly. So, but what is it that that holistic marketing is all about? The holistic marketing sees itself as integrating the value exploration. This is very important. Just see the word value dominating here. Value exploration, value creation, value delivery activities with the purpose of building long-term mutually satisfying relationships and co-prosperity among the key stakeholders. So with this approach, you are trying to have a complete perspective of marketing, from exploring the value. You know, that's maybe through marketing research. Then you create the value, you deliver it. Then not just delivering it, you also try to engage into activities that are meant to build long-term mutually beneficial relationships and co-prosperity, not with your just with your customers, but amongst the key stakeholders. And you know, when you talk of stakeholders, customers are included, but we are also going beyond just customers. We are also now considering, you know, like other stakeholders such as the shareholders themselves. We are looking at also the government and anyone else who is actually involved or who have got some vested interest within our business operations. Then within this holistic marketing perspective, we do have what we call the societal marketing concept. Now with the societal marketing concept, I always bring in an equation where I say SMC is equal to MC plus CSR, where SMC is equal to the societal marketing concept, which we just simply say is a combination of the marketing concept that is MC, plus the corporate social responsibility, which is CSR. So with this, over and above doing what we anticipate the company to do when it's marketing focused, in other words, when it has adopted marketing orientation, then this company, this very same company, will then engage into uh, broad societal and environmental issues and play a key role in addressing such issues like environmental protection, water conservation, climate change. You know, this is one of the biggest words in today's world. Poverty alleviation, fair trading, and so forth. If you recall very well, when I was looking at the 3 to 4 top forces in the present day marketing, I talked a bit about corporate social responsibility as one of those forces. So, you know, any companies that will actually observe the marketing concept and also consider the society by taking care of any of these, we can safely say that company is actually engaging into corporate social into the corporate social responsibility, hence applying the societal marketing concept. We have quite a number of companies. Almost, this has actually become, you know, one of the most implemented concepts in modern days, marketing environment. Whether this is being done in utmost good faith or as a marketing gimmick remains a discussion for another day, or remains, remains quite debatable. Then we do have what we call the relationship marketing concept. With the relationship marketing concept, this one recognizes the importance of long-term, not just long-term, but also mutually beneficial relationships as a means of nurturing and retaining customers. So this is where we talk of customer retention. That's the key word here. So what we are simply saying here is that with the relationship marketing concept, the focus for us to understand the relationship marketing concept, we need to understand the opposite of relationship marketing, which is what we call transactional marketing. With transactional marketing, the customer comes, buys, and goes. Don't care whether they come back or not. Next time they go to another company. If he's buying groceries, for instance, you just go and buy, pick and pay this month, no attachments whatsoever. Next time he just goes and tries spa. Next time they go and try game stores and so forth. That's transactional marketing. But relationship marketing, we are saying you come for the first time, pick and pay. Then we encourage you to come again, maybe through, through trying to promote maybe their loyalty programs. You know, they do have the smart shopper card and so forth. Then now someone is trying to say, okay, let me go back again, maybe I'll obtain some rewards and so forth. So with relationship marketing, you come for the first time, then we try and retain you. So the whole essence lies in the fact that it costs the organization more to always seek new customers as compared to simply retain the current customers. In fact, research shows that it costs the organization 3 to 5 times more to seek new customers rather than maintaining the current customers. So the goal is really to just build a mutually beneficial long-term relationship with customers and not just sell the product. And this can be done through various ways. Remember, like I said, with artificial intelligence, with 4IR, in fact, amidst us, with things like database marketing, with things like social media marketing, with a lot of technology around us, it's now quite easy to build such relationship. What is important is with the relationship marketing concept, it shouldn't be simply a one-way relationship, but it should rather be in a mutually profitable and long-term relationship. Then you do have what we call the VBM, for which the focus is on what we call CLV, that's customer lifetime value. With the VBM, we are simply saying the entire stream of purchases that the customer would make over the entire stream of purchases that the customer would make over a lifetime patronage, what we call customer lifetime value, is actually the focus of VB. As I said earlier on, remember when I was defining holistic marketing, when I said actually we have the aspects of value exploration, formulation. When you've explored the value, we need to create the value. We need to deliver it. Then we need to also develop a relationship with the customer. The longer a profitable customer stays with the firm, then the better. So that's how the VBM concept works. Then in order to try and exemplify this, you realize that Walmart has actually implemented what we call value creation strategy. And how has it done this? In fact, it has actually implemented a holistic marketing perspective, right? I want you to look at it from this perspective. You see here, their mission is to provide value for customers. And in fulfilling this mission, their competitive strategies to provide low prices every day. Remember, they wish to provide value for the customers. So they do this by offering low prices every day. Now, because this is low prices every day, in order to fulfill this, in terms of their operation strategy, because they know that low prices would mean that they will, in order to sustain the low prices, they will really need to make sure that their costs are low as well. So how do they ensure that? They ensure that by maintaining low levels of stock, and also by ensuring that they have short flow times. So by low levels of stock, in other words, they would implement what we call the JIT, the just in time, whereby you don't really need to keep stock or huge stocks, but make sure that the stocks is available just as and when it is required. In terms of the operational structure, in order to support the operational strategy, they do have linked communications between stores. In fact, this is also linked to the enabling technologies, EDI, that's electronic data interchange, satellites. They've also successfully implemented what we call the RFID, the RFID technology, radio frequency, the radio frequency technology, whereby they actually link, they have linked communications, not just between their stores, but also between themselves as well as their suppliers. So for instance, they will tell you that we won't deal with you as a supplier if you are not RFID compliant, or at least if you are not, compliant in terms of their technologies. Then they also, in terms of their operations, they do also engage into a fast or an efficient transportation system, which is enabled by cross-docking and focused locations. So this is value creation strategy by Walmart stores. That's an example of what we call holistic marketing concept being implemented right there. Then in terms of the marketing management tasks, there are a lot of tasks that as marketing managers would actually engage ourselves into to develop marketing strategies and plans, also capture the marketing insights from the environment, connecting with customers, building strong brands. There is a difference between a product and a brand, something that I'll talk about in another session. Then creating value, communicating value, if you've already alluded to, delivering value, creating long-term growth, conducting marketing responsibly for long-term success. Talking of conducting marketing responsibly for long-term success, you'll find that marketing has actually come along with some criticisms from within the society. Some of them, or the most of them, including what are known as deceptive practices. In fact, there is a belief out there that marketing is at times deceptive. There's also a belief that at times we do deceptive packaging, thus exaggerating package contents through some subtle design, using misleading labeling, and so forth. And there is also some criticism that has come along in terms of what is known as high pressure selling, whereby salespeople are actually, trying to entice or, they are trying to sweet talking, the clients, so that at the end of the day, like you are forced to buy what you didn't really wanted to talk, persuading people to buy, persuading them to buy things that they really don't need or that they would really not buy under normal circumstances. So those are some of the criticisms that have come along. Like I was saying, these are just criticisms, and anyone can criticize anything anyhow. And there are a lot other things that have been criticized within the marketing field. But for instance, we have the concept of what we call the product life cycle, which has been really criticized in terms of a lot of other aspects. But what is more important is what we would actually do, or how we react to such criticisms. So I'll just talk about this aspect of rights here. We do that in terms of, uh, notifying buyers that they do have their rights and they can actually exercise such. For instance, they have the right to exercise free will and never to buy a product that is offered for sale. For instance, even if it's a sales rep who's trying to entice you, you still have a right to object, even though, of course, sales reps are trained to, to overcome or to actually, to respond to such objections. But still, as a buyer, the ultimate say comes from you. You can actually deny, or you can actually, you know, refuse to buy. And the buyers also have the right to expect that products offered to the market are safe for consumption. Then, actually, most importantly, you'll find that, in line with this right. By the way, there are also various other rights of buyers. You can research more on such, like, for instance, the right to information, the right to making choices, the right to redress, and so forth. They do have rights, a lot of rights. In order to, related to this particular right to expect that products offered to the market are safe for consumption and so forth, there have been also quite increased pressure from around all over the world and from various unions, consumer watchdogs and so forth, for us as marketers to ensure that we, we ensure some form of transparency in terms of, if it's a food product, for instance, the ingredients must be made clear. The information must be clear in terms of who manufactured this product, what are the ingredients, what is it made up of, what are, and in what quantities and so forth. And this is one of those aspects that we, marketers have tried. And, remember we talked of we talked about big data, because if we don't say it out anyway, consumers always find it somehow. And there are a lot of ways in which information is now, sort of leaking out or go, like getting across the market within just by a click. So at the end of the day, if we don't say it on our own, then the information will end up, in the hands of the customers, maybe through some ways. And it's rather better to say it, or to be transparent ourselves as marketers, rather than allow someone to be transparent for us. For us, at the end of the day, the information will end up there, either in the wrong hands, or it will end up in the market, maybe in some form of distorted way. But even though the buyers have some rights, as sellers, we also do have the right to offer any product in any size and style, provided it is not hazardous to consumer health and safety. You can watch this link in terms of understanding the power of marketing, just to realize how powerful marketing can be. And as I conclude, you will notice that marketing is a process, and that process is meant to create value for customers and build customer relationships. The end result is that we should be able to capture value from the customers. Not just capture value, but also we should also be able to fulfill our profit objectives. So we do that through following this process. We try and understand the marketplace and customer needs and wants, maybe through carrying out marketing research. We then design a customer-driven marketing strategy. And this is quite captured quite well in either a strategic marketing plan or in a marketing plan, simply. So then, having done that, we also construct an integrated marketing program. So you find that within this plan or this strategy, we will find then an integrated marketing program that will deliver the superior value in form of maybe the marketing mix program, the product, price, promotions, and place or distribution. Then we also, the next step now will be to build profitable relationships and create customer delight. You remember delight, customer delight. In other words, we offer a product or service that performs, that actually exceeds, whose performance exceeds the expectations of the customers. That's customer delight. So the whole idea, the end result will be to capture value from customers, create profits, and customer equity. Thank you.